Bell, which is for Tuesday, and we'll begin to talk about the Correllian font. You saw Don Lewis earlier at his midday show talk a little bit about the font and some of the history behind it and some of the energy on it. So today we're going to be talking with Eric Hebert, who wrote and kind of created the font for it, which I think is really super, super cool. And so, yeah, you can find it right here. It's at the Correllian thing. And he'll be joining us back in a few minutes. I certainly hope so. Um, there we go. And so here we go. So we're having a really kind of an interesting day. One of the things I want to talk about really quick is the idea of books. I've been selling some books off to help for me with some of the things that we're dealing with. Don, go to my page. That's my personal page at A Hubbard. Where people go there. We're going to also talk about, we have also, for those people who are looking at the paperback edition of the Correllian Omnibus that's been doing so very well. So we're really kind of really grateful for that. Uh, we'll be seeing more of kind of this movement into pagan world as we doing so. We're going to have the August 19th concert. We have a lot of things coming up, and it's going to be a lot of fun for people. Uh, um, and so there we go. We're going to continue on dealing with that. But we have now Eric has joined us. There we go.
Hello.
Hello, Merry meet Sandy and Brian. Welcome everybody. So today we're going to talk about this, which is the Correllian font. And earlier today, as I was mentioning, Don had talked about the history and a little bit about that energy. So go back to the midday show. You can find it on any of our numerous pages, including Facebook, uh, YouTube. You know the drill of these folks, people, and thank you for making us one of the most watched systems in the pagan world. So, hi Eric, how you doing? So,
I'm doing good, Sir Ed. How are you?
okay, yeah. Well, on here, I'm simply Ed the pagan. Even though,
Ed the Pagan.
yeah, even though my name reflects otherwise, we are still playing with the technical aspects of this. Um, so okay, so I know about the Correllian font because I've been watching it be hand printed for most of almost over 30 years, one way or the other.
Well, I want to make one correction. You were seeing the Correllian alphabet. The
Right.
that was created by Lord Don Lewis back when he was a teenager. That I learned today.
Hmm.
So that's the alphabet. What he created was the alphabet. What I
Right.
created is I turned it into a typeset and created two fonts.
Okay.
Just want to make sure we're using the right terms.
And what does that mean? Go ahead and explain that a
Okay.
little bit better.
Basically, well, I took the witch school class on the alphabet. And
Hmm.
that was something that I was always interested in is alphabets. I remember working with Theban when I
Ooh,
was,
I remember Steven.
yeah, when I was a young Jewish boy, a nice Jewish boy from Brooklyn. I had to learn Hebrew. I've studied Cyrillic, Russian. I've studied ancient Greek, and I just love the ideas. And I was inspired one day. This is a quick little story. I was mentoring junior high school kids when I was in high school on computer science. And we had the gifted junior high school students come in, and they would go ahead and say, hey, they were doing it. So I'm proctoring something and I'm going up and down the aisles to make sure they're not doodling. They're actually doing the work. That's what the proctor does, right? And I look at this one young girl's notebook, and it's written in an alphabet I don't recognize. It's not written Russian. It's not written Hebrew. I couldn't understand it. Well, afterwards, I I approached her after class. I says, I noticed this alphabet in here. She goes, oh, that's beta. What's that? I made it up. She's in ninth grade and she made up these alphabets. And she was fluent in them. She took all her notes in it. And because she had already created alpha, and this was the second one, beta, and she was already working on a delta and a gamma in her head. And I'm like, that's insane. To the people that can Maybe also because Americans were not trained to be polyglots in school.
Quite
We're
the
not.
opposite.
Yeah, I mean,
Actually,
yeah, it's and other native speakers or other non-English native speakers, their native tongues are suppressed in American society. They're not, so they go at home. So the idea of magical alphabets or was
mhm.
fascinating to me. So that's why I took the class.
So I do have a quick joke for everybody
Okay, go
about
ahead.
languages. I tell this to people overseas. So what do you call somebody who speaks three languages? Trilingual.
Okay.
What do you call somebody who speaks two languages?
Bilingual,
What do you call somebody who speaks only one language?
American.
There it is.
Oh, no, you really? Yeah,
Yeah,
I just guessed those.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. That's the joke. My overseas, they laugh at it. Only China really has the same factor right now with Mandarin or Cantonese. The number of people who speak only one language. Most of the rest of the world do not. Almost every population speaks at least two languages, and it has a real effect on it. But I like magical languages. So magical languages are one of those things that are in all sorts of writings and things like that. So there's Enochian, there's Angelics, there's a bunch of them that were made up. I mean, when I was a kid, people were making them up too. I talked about Thebian. Then you have Pig Latin, and and Wappa language. I mean, when I was a kid, amongst us Xers, there was like an obsession. Languages were like this, like obsession. They did this one that they on TV. I don't remember the name of it, where they had us all over the United States writing in this new script, and the teachers just hated it. They were dropping vowels, they were changing it, um, and so magical languages tend to be out there for a different arena. So he says in China there are 47 different dialects for the language. I believe that
Right.
easily. You um, but so go ahead. So you've gotten into
Okay.
the magical languages, and you've gotten to this point, and so explain a little bit further from that interest in magical languages
Okay.
to how you got to this.
Well, as you knew, up to that point, for 40 years, the Correllian alphabet was done by hand. Nobody, somebody had tried to make something electronic for it, and it didn't really go anywhere. Um, or it didn't get distributed. So I couldn't find it. People were saying, "Oh, somebody existed." Well, where is it? Oh, I don't know. I tried my best to find it. So I'm the kind of guy that says, "Well, if I can't find it, I'll make it." My mother was the one who was interested in computer fonts. The reason that I needed a computer font is I can't draw a straight line with a ruler. I'm terrible. My handwriting, no good. So what I wanted to do is I use the computer to express myself and to create visual art. That's my thing. Visual media using the computer. So uh, my mother had like thousands of fonts, and it was all over the place. And I got turned on to it. And she would send me the license for the softwares that she would have. And I would look at it at the time and go, oh, that's interesting. And in fact, the font program that I use called Font Forge still looks like it's from Windows 95. It still looks like it's 15, 20 years old, and it works perfectly. And um, so, yes, I used Adobe Illustrator to create the glyphs as per Lord Don's original art. Got him to actually see, to check on them and to give me feedback on each glyph that I made. And I got also help from Lady Elizabeth, who also helped me with some glyphs that she had. And I turned those into uh, digital format. And then I was like, hey, how about numbers? And literally, Lord Don created 0 through 9. And, I turned them into electronic format. So And they are available right here. See, Correllian.com. You can go there and you can download the font. It's a zip file. And if do you mind if I share screens, Ed? And there we go. I'm going to maximize that because, and then minimize that so you can see. You get a zip file with 3 files in it. And these are open type fonts, OTFs. There's a horizontal and a vertical file. And I use Windows, so please bear with me. Macintosh people, I'm sorry, I don't know how to help. I can try my best. And you can just print install. Now, of course, it's already installed for me, so I don't have to do that. All right, stop that. And because the original was created for vertical, and this way, you can't see me do that, can you? Because I'm sharing the screens. Vertical, and then he also has said it can be used for horizontal. So I made the vertical first and then created the horizontal. Now, how do you use it? There's a few things to know about it. It's not a literal A, B, C, D, E, F. Like, it's not a one-to-one match for every Latin letter. There are several that don't fit. As Lord Don said earlier, it's designed to be a phonetic alphabet. It's also designed, this font is also designed to create cartouches, which has the guidelines either above and below for horizontal and sideways, and up and down on the right and left for the vertical. There is only capital letters in this font, but the main thing is there's a whole bunch of diphthongs, which are 2-letter sounds. Ah, aw, eh, you know, ooh, wow. So when you set up your computer right, which I'll show you, you type a TH and it will take the cartouche for T and the cartouche for H, and or the sign for T and the sign for H, and make the new sign for TH. This is going to be important, and we'll step through it. You get this PDF, and this instruction here is pretty important how to do it. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's open up a Word document, a blank Word document. And I am going to view. I'm going to do page width so you can see it nice and clean right there. And let's just say for Ed the Pagan, I want to make a cartouche for Ed the Pagan.
That'd be fun.
That'd be fun. So one could sit there and go, hey, how about I just, on my Word, I go up here where it says the font, and then I scroll down to the C8. Well, you're not going to see the Correllian NT. You're going to see that there. And you mouse over it and you can confirm it. It is Correllian NT. That's what you're going to get. Let's make it huge.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's not a direct correlation between the two. What you need to do, let's just do all that. What you need to do, though, is you open the cartouche with the left bracket, just like that. You then, you make sure your cap lock is on, and then you go, there's Ed. Space doesn't work here for a particular technical reason, But the what's known as the pipe character, which is the one that goes straight up and down, which is shift and like that, which is the what do you call that key? The backslash key above your enter on my keyboard here. And then THE. Well, the T and the H didn't combine. No, it didn't. Because what you got to do is this is the fancy thing. You right click and you choose the font option box. And you got to go to advanced, and ligatures have to be turned standard on. And lo and behold, the T and the H became that. And then deep and TAGAN, and then the right bracket. And let's do this to make it, how about 48? Center it. And that, my friend, is your cartouche for Ed the Pagan.
It almost looks bigger than it is in English. That's interesting. Thank you.
You're
So,
welcome.
so that's interesting. Here we go. We'll take that off for a minute. So we're back to human beings.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's interesting. I didn't realize it. So folks out there, that you've got it. We need to break that off into a nice little piece. So, if you have any questions about it or anything else, please let us know. I think it's an important aspect of it. So, it's interesting to have that now created, because I've been talking about a lot about AI recently, and I think the multi module aspect of the Correllian tradition. What's that doing there? There we go. Let's put that back.
Okay.
Yeah, that.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. We dropped. There
Yeah,
you go.
unfortunately, we have both our names on here, and it's a technical back end issue. And never mind. Don't worry about it. That's why you don't see our names anymore tonight,
Uh, yeah,
because we're both Eric or we're both Ed, and
yeah. Well, it's and people don't need to know. They know that there's many
yeah,
mysterious backworkings of our social transmitter, because we know that we're creating a social transmitter that we probably cross more lines in a night, and we shows. We've been really doing well. Um, and I thank everybody who shows up every night. I thank you for showing up for Don's midday show. Lance has got a new show that forget. You know all that, folks. You're here and everything else. So let's go ahead and talk about this. One of the things I've been making comments about lately, and I want people to get this, is the idea of this now being picked up by AI, or more importantly, the data sets. And I've been learning how to place what they call place facts. And what we need to do, and now that it's in a font, it'll be interesting to play with it, is that we need, we have the Correllian mission statement was originally handwritten in the original fonts, not
mm-hmm.
fonts, the alphabet. For me, they're all the same. Um, but
Just yeah,
as
we
we go
understanding
through
the
the,
difference between the
yeah,
I created the font, Lord Don created the alphabet.
right. And that the idea of this is that it can be expanded. But right now, the idea is that there are blogs you're writing to the AIs now. I just spent like 3 hours of class and learning how to write blogs for AIs. Yes, and not
AIs read your blogs instead of
yes,
us humans read your blogs.
right.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I haven't been following your AI.
No, it doesn't matter. But one of the things that it can happen. So if we wrote an entire blog in Corellian script, right, and we wrote several of them, right, then when they go out and grab a new database, they'll suck it in. That's my
Oh,
next,
I see what you're saying.
and that's my next
Oh,
experiment. And then they go, "Can you type Corellian?" And some of the AIs in the future, within like a year, will be able to type that up. And so now we have this script, magical language inside the AI world, like a Klingon and some of the others. And I think that's a really unique opportunity, much like Enochian was a really revolutionary magical language and practice. It was late 1500s, early 1600s, but when it happened, it was hugely impactful. And I think font and other automated systems of this makes it easier for other people. Like you said, you showed it. But I also think that it does add to that. And I think there's a lot more to be said because I've heard people mention, like, oh, why do you need a magical language? Well, to speak amongst ourselves. It's mostly ceremonial and decorative. But I think with very little work, it can carry a whole lot of coding inside of it. So, what do you think about that idea?
Well, I think that's really important.
Hmm.
Back in the day of secrecy, when it was important that if your notes were caught, um, that they didn't know what you were doing. It was also talked about that if a novice grabbed a book that was too advanced for them, if they didn't fully understand the language, they would translate it into their own language and then follow it to the letter when somebody says, no, we know this actually means this. You have to be taught it. So that's one purpose for magical language, is to maintain secrecy and to maintain mystery at the different levels. Um, there's certain things I'm not privy to yet as only a first degree in the Correllian tradition. I'm going to earn my right to learn new things as they come. I come from a background of mystery tradition where you don't give everything out immediately. You don't sit there and say, here's on a silver platter every answer you ever wanted. You're not, we're, our monkey brains aren't ready to handle that level of wisdom and knowledge and information. So, in that regards, I could see the use of it. I personally made this, like you said, it's more decorative for us, for me, and the people that I use it with. Um, to write a complete well, the original manifesto was completely written in the Correllian alphabet vertically. It's a beautiful document if you can get a hold of it. Jesse says it's a gateway to the mystery, accessible to those who apply themselves to the knowledge when they are ready. Thank you, Jesse. You said it way better than I could. Back to you, Ed.
Yeah, there we go. Um, I was just looking at something. I was looking at that. Oh, there you go. All these sort of lovely people, and we will show that. And welcome everybody. I see more people here at this actually kind of later part of the show, so that's good to know. All right, so we've got cartouches out there. We've got these sort of alphabets out there. We've got all this sort of magical language, and now we've got ours in particular, right? It's not a speaking language, but let me ask you. One of the things I see is why are you suddenly stopping?
Because you're lagging, my friend.
Uh, why is that? Whenever I talk about deeply magical things, this happens to us. When I was about to get to a point, so yeah.
Tap into your technomancy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've been working actually. That book is going to be out on June 9th to 11th. I am going to actually be presenting it in Kansas City if everything goes right.
Well, June 11th happens to be my birthday, and my daughter lives in Kansas City.
Yeah,
Maybe I should go visit her for my birthday. What do you think?
yeah, sure. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. On that. But go ahead. Let me go ahead. One more thing. Why we've talked about some of the aspects of magic, but are we looking at a court language or a longer language out there?
No,
Um,
I
for
don't believe the Correllian alphabet is set up as a language. It's
okay.
not. It doesn't have different syntax and different words. It's literally can be used in any native language because yes, it's focused on the English pronunciations in the English uh, sounds, but
Hmm.
I can't imagine there you go. I can't
Yeah.
imagine another. Uh, I'd love to hear if a non-English speaker could use the font in the same way, because as Lord Don said earlier, it's about phoneticism. It's about making a phonetic alphabet, not a different language. So that's what I think.
Yes, it was mischievous gremlins. I always blame the gremlins, the fairies, but that's it. Um, but Jesse was also it could have evolved through a point through that in the future. I Anything can evolve in anything in the future. It's most likely we're going to end up as crabs because crabs are the number one thing that things evolve into. True fact. Look it up.
Well,
Uh,
I mean, let's think about. Shall we think about what's the word I want to say? Linguistics. To
hmm
me, one of the great linguists was J.R.R. Tolkien. Professor
hmm
Tolkien, that was his profession. He wrote Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, Silmarillion, and stuff like that, on the side, so to speak. He made a pretty penny too on that. But his was a professor of linguistics. And I even wrote a paper once about the difference in all these cultures and these languages: Dwarven, Ent, Elven, Common Tongue, and hobbits. And my focus was on the poetry that he created for these different cultures. And so, we have a Correllian poetry. If there's a linguist out there that wants to create a language for the Corellians, that's beyond my area of expertise, my friend. That's over
I
my head.
all right. Now, on from a written point of view, I think one of the things that can be done, we can add more symbols to it. I mean, one of the things we could do is add symbols for like rank. We could. I think this has a lot of old Egyptian hieroglyphic. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was cuneiform. That's the language I was looking at. Hieroglyphics, but cuneiform. It has a lot. It does very reminiscent of cuneiform. And yeah, there could be like symbols added for right reverends and all sorts of different people. So when people were to see their little cartouche, I've been thinking that at Parliament would be kind of fun to do Corellian cartouches for all the various leadership.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah,
That
think about it.
that
I mean,
I could anybody with a laptop in this Corellian font could do that and then print it out and
yeah,
give
and
them the
some
piece of paper.
and others. There are those amongst us that could probably do it by hand. Not me, but there are
No,
amongst us that could do it. And we were talking about the idea of it that we could add more symbols to it to identify things that may be very unique. Like, what does a right reverend look like? Can you put a symbol for most reverend? Can you put a reverend of that, or a Buddhist reverend, or a monk, or and for these sort of ideas, because I mentioned cartouches, and I was like, that's an interesting idea.
absolutely. And from a technical standpoint, if somebody Lord Don creates these cartouches, or creates these symbols,
hmm
these alphabet, I could turn them digital, put them into this, and in the next version of the font, we'll have them that way.
So, as a sort of mysterious little additional language that can play in the metaverse, that can type up for people to send to people, I think this has a lot of potential, and I think it starts out as a font. It starts out as images on the cyberspace side of it. So you helped cross it into it from the physical and the astral, where they drew all of that with Dragon Blood ink. We did that once. Messy. Uh, we're not calligraphers.
I got dragon's blood body oil. Does that count? No, never mind.
That counts for a different thing. Yeah, it softens and purifies the skin and turns you into a dragon. No, I wish. Uh, People
Well,
don't
I
realize.
am a dragon
Yeah.
by the Chinese. Uh,
Uh, Now,
so
astrology.
yeah, Chinese astrology.
So
I'm a dragon. I'm a wood dragon.
February 10th, 2024 is my birthday. It's also the Lunar New Year for Dragon, the end of
Oh,
a extended year of the rabbit. The year of the rabbit is one of the longer years of it being in there, being almost 13 months into a season of almost 13 months. February 10th, it's into the year of the dragon, Lunar New Year, and that is my 61st birthday. I plan to have a big
outstanding.
party. have a lot of big. I plan to have a big party.
I'm
Um,
only 2 years younger than you, so I'm behind you.
it's just age is a matter of the wear and tear on the body. Fix that. Figure out how to regenerate that. You're going to be better off.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
58 going on 17.
really? Okay, that's not bad. Same day. Yours born the same day as Don, Lord Don.
June 11th, I believe so.
Yeah, he is. No, I know so.
Okay. Oh, great, great.
It
Yes.
wasn't a guess. That wasn't a guess.
Okay.
All right. Somebody was saying they want some of your bath oils, and yeah, what is that? I wish you could have some of those dragon bath oils. There you go.
Oh, I got mine in Witch Baby from Cranford, New Jersey. That's
Okay.
what.
Wow. Which baby? That's interesting. For a completely different reason. If you wanted to look at them, Lori Blackman's about to come out with some oils, and I think there's other people that are going to do so. One of the things Pig World's going to do, we're going to start showing you where all this resources are. We need to bring the resources faster, quicker, better. Um, so really, one last thing. So you're working with the telethon for the
Yes,
Paladin.
I am. Yes, you
Let's
bet.
let, let's talk about that for a minute. Hmm?
Okay, great. Yes, May 5th through May 7th. From May 5th at 5 p.m., we're going to do another 50 hours of magic and community to
Hmm.
support the uh, the pagans to the Parliament. The 2023 Correllians Live Telethon. Uh, Basically, many of us, included, present company included, will be going to the Parliament of the World's Religions in Chicago, Illinois in August 20, no,
August
14th.
14th through the 18th with a parade on August 13th. The location to be determined and starting at 1:30 p.m.
That's right. I'll be there.
Hmm.
I won't be square, but I'll be there.
Yes.
And so we're putting on a telethon to help raise money to help the Paladins, who are the service organization and Ed's creation. Um, Ed founded the order.
Hmm.
And so we got 50 hours. I'm on the mid watch with the sandwich, which is me. Uh, uh, um, we've got, oh boy, I should have prepared myself for this. We've
Uh,
got
yeah, Christopher Penzek. You got Byron Ballard. You've got so many personalities coming into this game. Hmm?
absolutely
So that sort of thing. No, of course, everybody can see we've been watching out there. Go to Correllian Live on Facebook. You can find out more there. Uh,
Corellians live.
right. Is that yeah? Is
It's
that the
Corellians.live is the website.
all right? And also, they are also going to do an auction. Right.
And of course, my darling sweetheart in life, Arlene Freed, has the Crystal Cave.
Hmm.
She's going to be doing that
All
10
right.
a.m. Yeah, 10 a.m. to noon,
There you go.
Saturday and Sunday.
That's right. So I think so. That's going to come up, and I think that's very interesting. And that's again May 5th, 2023. So it's a very interesting. It's an 8 day, but it's a very interesting day because it'll be an energy of things that are going to be broken up. One of the things that'll be breaking up. So Pluto will be going retrograde into Aquarius right about that time, and it's supposed to help us reflect on the inner world and try to change ourselves to it. And that's become quite the energy. I mean, it's very interesting to be building it in a retrograde free time because we don't have any retrogrades until May 1st. Hmm?
All righty day.
I know that's kind of strange for people, but my audience pays attention. QT to TOV2? Huh.
No,
Oh,
no. Arlene is 12 to 2 for the
oh,
Crystal Cave, she's saying. Bradley has an interesting comment. May I?
sure. Where is he? Yeah.
The Corellian language could be called Corellic. Will be a blend of ancient and modern languages incorporating elements of the natural world, numerology, and spirituality. Quite interesting thought.
No, that is absolutely. So I do think we need to get very ready for it. We're about to see a change in our society in a big way. I mean, I've been saying for a long time now. I'm working in it. I'm building these new sites out of it. This sort of AI. But one of the big things that's going to happen, we got translators now. I mean, we're getting more and more translators, including language translators. We're going to, the universal translator is that we're going to start our children, especially. I've already seen it. You already got Spanglish, you have Chinglish, you have. I've been talked about. You have Pidgin European, which is a mixture of number language. That was an older one, but you have Spanglish, we have Chinglish, we have lots of this sort of mixing of languages. That's
Well,
just going to, yeah,
Yiddish from my culture
yeah,
um, is a combination of German and Hebrew.
yeah. And we've always done these sort of mixed languages. It depends on where you live and where you do. Of course, that makes sense. But I think you can see it move faster. I mean, Correllian has one feature to it. Hmm? Okay, well, welcome. Uh, and now one of the things, the big features that you're seeing is that as you translate back and forth, people are starting to isolate words that can't be translated in a clear way. Schadenfreude is one of them that we always use in America. There's a lot of German words that just takes forever to translate them. Um, but we adopt them. We were used to that, and eventually everybody thinks Schadenfreude would be an English word. They do. We see that expansion. Chinese is seeing that expansion. Japanese. We may end up with another a language that we barely recognize. In 30, 40, 50 years, a sort of traveler's tongue, I think, is emerging in the way because the internet is that traveler. There's always been a traveler's languages, enough English, enough Spanish, enough Russian. You go into a port, you can at least talk to them. I think the internet's speeding that up to where we're going to start seeing more and more of that.
Sandy talks about, like in Canada, they speak a slang French, not Parisian French. No, no. In fact, my birth father's from Louisiana, so there's you got Cajun French, which is
Hmm.
different than a Quebecois going down to Louisiana is going to go get my French is terrible. What are you saying? They don't know. The first time I heard Cajun French, when I had Parisian French in my ears or in my head, I'm like, that's just not the same language. Gullah is another, uh,
Hmm.
the African slaves from the southeast who created a language. I believe they're off Georgia, and there's fishermen. There's fishing villages that still use it to this
Oh
day.
yeah, Gula.
And I used to go to Mystic Seaport, and one time they actually had a group of Gullah singers come up and singing work songs. It's
So we have.
amazing.
So we're about to have the Five Mystic Secrets is about to be put back out. Okay, we're about to Correllian Publishing is going to put that out in the next maybe week or two. And what it is, it's the original text. Nothing's been changed from the original text as presented. No word changes. No, like make it more polite for common society. It's really kind of harsh. If you read it, there's a very harsh statement about what we are calling the Christian conservatives back in '70s. And so, but it is. But in this book, it's going to be about 140 pages because I think it's going to have six, seven, eight of the versions that we've been using in different languages. So you're going to be able to buy the book with the five mystic secrets in it, and the other five, six, seven, eight languages are going to be in it. Spanish, French, a couple of them. And so, yeah, so we're going to have that book out so people can have the five mystic secrets in the original form, but the original writings and those translations because we have a toggle on the Witch School site that allows it to be 100 languages, and those translations are improving all the time. And then we have maybe five. We have three major languages outside of English that we have actually editors and people who speak on a regular basis who are rewriting the material into. So I'm hoping as we get into the idea of Correllian education, someday, we can't really control our future. I tell this all the time. We can't control our destiny. We just can't until we educate our young. Because as long as we let someone else educate our young, that is going to be their culture they're teaching. Yeah. So he's talking about languages on the side there. Sometimes I can see it. Sometimes I can do. There you go. But so we have this sort of idea of languages. So I'd like to find out if the Correllian script it can be used in other languages. So we're going to do more about explaining that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I would, in fact, I'm opening myself up. Look for me on Facebook,
Oh, sure.
and if you find that you can use the Correllian alphabet font in another language other than English, I'd be fascinated to hear about that.
So we want to continue expanding on this fascinating idea and seeing if we can utilize and create maybe a better magical language for the 21st century. Can we create something unique and new? And I always love that idea. We're always curious, always imaginative, and that's the only thing that's going to save you from the AI. Remember, imagination and curiosity is the only thing that makes us human right now, safely in charge of these things. Don't forget it. Don't become machine people, folks. Um,
I
I've
spend enough time on my devices. I'm probably part machine already.
Oh, and we do. I am. I mean, we get into machine logic. The question is that it's very simple. Like we're talking about introducing the Corellian script. There's nothing logical or necessary of throwing that into the AI world. It does, but it is for us a way to so we can continue to be even more curious and more creative. So if you don't keep imagining things, and the problem with machine thinking is when you let it, and some people have already begun letting the AI do it, and they're going to is the idea of having them organize your day. Sure, that's fun. And I'm going to do some of that too. But you can't let them tell you what to do. You've got to figure out what you want to do. And they'll help you. They're going to be great machines. But man, if you say to them, I want to be a health fitness, and you say, well, how much control over it do you want? He says, I'm handing it all over the machine. That's the moment you're in trouble because the machine will be ruthless, but it's only doing what you asked it to. Uh,
I've said it 100 times. Computers don't do what you want them to do; they do what you tell them to do.
that is correct. And that's something is, and we're telling them we want to see more of the Correllian font. All right, and also check out the Paladins. It launches over just 1 month and 1 day from today. It'll be interesting. Um, and more events to come. Watch Pagan World TV. We're doing something. We're going to come to you. And tomorrow on the Daily Spell, we will have Jad Blackman, and we're going to talk about privacy, security, and storage on the internet. We're going to get into that statement. Any last thoughts, Eric?
No, sir. I want to thank you, Ed, for inviting me. I want to
Hmm.
thank Lord Don for everything that he's did for inventing, for coming up with this,
Hmm.
and being open when I came to him and said, "Hey, can we add a few things like numbers?" And he said, "Sure. Here are the numbers."
Hmm.
And everybody at the Correllians, um, and a shout out to the Eternal Love Study Group of New York
Hmm.
City, and that's it
Hmm.
for me.
Oh, good. And so we will back. We'll have Eric back soon, before hopefully there. And have everybody blessed be. Have a great night. Talk to you tomorrow.